all you crazy kids. Welcome to a special episode of Cocktales with Sabrina Marie. Today we're going to be filming in my house, and as a special treat, I'm going to be introducing you to a signature recipe that I put together this spring. I have been blessed with an overwhelming amount of strawberries due to the CSA I participate from Small City Farms, and my strawberries are coming from Barbie Farms out of Concord, North Carolina. Due to the abundance of strawberries that I was unable to consume, I started to look for ways to preserve the berries so that I could use them long-term out of season. I decided to make a shrub, but I've not really ever made a berry shrub, and even though I'm versed in them, it took a few weeks of experimentation to finally get the system down to a science, and that's the system that I'm going to share with you today. There is quite a bit of prep involved in this cocktail, but once you do the system once, this product lasts forever. It has a great shelf life, and you can make many cocktails out of it. So we're going to start with our first step. I have gone ahead and measured out a cup of white vinegar, and we're going to put it into a small saucepan. As I heat this up, or wait for this to heat up, you want to bring your vinegar up to about 190 degrees, just below the boiling point. If you don't have a thermometer handy, typically you can tell because there will start to be steam rising off of the vinegar. At that point, you want to cut the heat. Shrubs came into existence in the 1500s as a way for people to preserve their fruits in the off-season. And they gained popularity in America in the 1600s as they were trying to ship booze across the ocean, but they didn't necessarily want to always pay the tax on what they were bringing into the country. So while they were still out to sea, they would have these barrels that were filled with booze, and they would add shrubs to them to mask the flavor, and they would actually dump them into the ocean, go into port, pay their taxes, and send boats back out to retrieve the shrub-infused booze. All right, as you can see, the vinegar has come up to temperature. So now we're going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to add 1.5 cups of sliced strawberries. And that's going to go all over the place. My next step is I'm going to put the lid back on here. I'm going to set my kitchen timer for 20 minutes. And at the end of 20 minutes, you're going to put this into a Tupperware container and put it into your fridge for 48 hours. After the fruit and the vinegar macerates for 48 hours, you're going to strain the combination through a chinois. If you do not have a chinois, the other way to go about this part of the process is to line a fine mesh strainer with cheesecloth, and once the liquid goes through, you're going to actually squeeze the cheesecloth to get as much of the fruit juice out of the berries as possible. But since I have a chinois, I am going to put gloves on my hand. I always double glove because this can get a little messy. This is just going to push all of the fruit juice that is in the berries. We all know that once you macerate berries, they become sweeter. And you want to do this process until you have gotten as much juice out of the berries as possible. This is the part of the process that gets tricky because you never know exactly how much juice you're going to get from the berries. So sometimes a quart of berries will give you a cup of juice, sometimes it'll give you 3 cups. So after you strain the berries and push the juice through, you want to take a measuring cup and see actually how much liquid you have produced. Looks like we got 3 cups of juice today. So our next step is to take this back to the stove. We're almost to the end of our prep, and the last stage of this process is to add our sugar. So we have 3 cups of juice. I'm going to add it to a saucepan. We're going to bring this up to just below boiling again. And my standard rule for my strawberry shrub is going to be 1 part sugar to 4 parts mix. So I have 3 cups of juice. I'm going to be adding 3/4 of a cup of sugar to the mix. So right now we're letting this come up to temperature. You don't want this to boil. It will boil over. It will make a mess. So now we're just about up to temperature. My first step is going to be to turn off the heat because I don't want it to boil over. I'm going to remove the lid, and I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of sugar up against 3 cups of juice. I'm going to use my whisk and just make sure that that sugar gets nice and melted. Once you get the sugar melted, you're just gonna put this into a container and put it into the fridge to cool. Okay, now we're gonna make our cocktail, but just as important as the cocktail is the garnish. One of my favorite garnishes is to make a strawberry rose, and I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. The most important part is you want to kind of go with the shape of the strawberry, and you're just gonna do a very thin slice around and pull it out so it'll give the look of petals. As you move up the strawberry, you want to offset where the other petals are, so you're kind of gonna cat-a-corner them. And you're just gonna keep going around the berry until you've made a nice center. So the name of this drink is BB's Love Potion. We're gonna start with, in a shaker, we're gonna take 4 basil leaves. I'm going to tear them and drop them directly into the shaker. My next step is I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of Sutler's Gin. It's local, it's my favorite, it's amazing, get some. I'm going to add 2 dashes of Topo black pepper bitters. This isn't only good in drinks, it's good on steaks, and when you put black pepper up against strawberry, it really brings out the sweetness of the berry. I'm doing 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. And then I'm gonna do 2 full ounces of the strawberry shrub. We're gonna put some ice in the shaker. And I'm also going to fill up my zombie glass with ice. Now we're gonna shake, 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 shake your booty, shake your booty. Ow, ow. Now we're gonna pour this beautiful little mixture over fresh ice into a zombie glass. Top it with a little bit of club soda. Add your strawberry rose. And have yourself a drink with peace, love, and a strong buzz. Cheers.